So what is sex, right? How do we do it, right? How does this work, right? How does this play? And let's feel into it. Sex is, my friends, right, the great mystery of our lives. And there are two very different approaches, right, to how we understand sex. The first approach we might call the moralists. And the moralists are a powerful group in culture that live in us. All of these groups live in us, and they tell us that somehow sex is wrong or only right in very particular limited context, in a particular form of marriage, sacramented or sanctified in a particular way. But essentially, right, that's just a condescension, right, a kind of compromise with reality, because actually at its core there's something immoral about this kind of pleasure that expands you in this kind of way, which takes you away from the true serious issues of life. And these forces are really potent. And even when we think we've gotten free of them and they've got nothing to do with us, they kind of pop up again inside our hearts or heads, wagging their fingers disapprovingly. And of course, they remind us all the time of all the trouble that sex has gotten the world into and all the trouble that sex has gotten you into. I mean, we went to war in the United States in the last part of the 20th century with Iraq in large measure because the president at the time, Bill Clinton, right, had a brief affair with Monica Lewinsky. How did that cause us to go to war? Well, it caused us to go to war because the entire country, right, was following every detail, right, every sexual detail, right, of that exchange, right, and it made front page every single day for 2.5 years, more than major earthquakes, famines, issues in education, right, huge issues happening in the world were on page 10. This was in page 1, because this was the place that people could kind of be in a voyeur status and move beyond their own internal shame by actually shaming the president. Right? They projected their shame outwards onto the president. When it became time for Al Gore in the late 20th century to run for president, right, Bill Clinton, right, who was the president at the time, Al Gore was vice president, couldn't campaign for him because of the whole Lewinsky issue. He was too controversial. Gore lost the presidency. Right, George Bush was elected and made a series of decisions that led to the war in Iraq. Now, why am I mentioning that? It doesn't matter whether you're a Bush Republican or you're a Clinton Democrat at the end of the 20th century. The point is that our decision about war in Iraq shouldn't have anything to do with Bill Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky and what kind of oral sex he had or didn't have. Right? That's the problem. And the problem is not, Clinton or Bush. The problem is, why are we completely fixated, right, on the particular details of this relationship, right, between these two people, right? And the answer is, and it's very, very powerful, right? The answer is because we're projecting our shame outward, right? And we've got to actually move beyond that. So the first group of people, right, that approach sex are the moralists, and lots of organized religion, right, and conventional moralists and myth makers kind of fall into this category. And we've got to first move beyond that. And I want to bring the words of the great Zen monk, Q, in the 14th century, right, bring him to bear to respond to that first voice of shame, which is the voice of the moralists, right, of, much of organized religion. So Ikkyu writes, with a young beauty, sporting in deep love play, we sit in the pavilion, a pleasure girl and this Zen monk, enraptured by hugs and kisses. I certainly don't feel as if I'm burning in hell. That's the first coalition, and Ikkyu's beautiful response to that first coalition responding to sex, which is the moralists.